Thanks. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nobody Cyberland either. So.
No. Well, we have to we had, I think Aunt Sandra texted or emailed, talked to you guys about the OFBA convention and signing up, so I think we're all covered on that. I don't have any other announcements, but I do want to make a clarification on the agenda. Under action items, we had a proposed action item 8.3 resolution for Awesome Grant. We can remove that from the agenda because we've got all the paperwork that we need for the ODE documentation. So, you know, just make sure agenda a little lighter.
One left.
All right, next is approval of minutes. Did anybody have anything that stuck out or made a correction? All right. You want me to move in a second?
Yeah, because I can't find words.
I move that the Jervis School District #1 Board of Directors approves the board minutes from September 18th, 2025 for regular and executive session. We have a motion? We have a second? Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, I don't have any public forum.
So now we're on to student council report. Looks like we have Gabby, Melissa, and Valerie.
Yeah.
Come on up. Next contestant.
Nobody dressed up for Twin Day.
We did.
Sandals, like as Gucci flip flops. Gucci flip flops.
Now we need to see footballs.
Wait, no, I didn't take a picture. Do you have a picture, Valerie? They took a bunch of pictures, but not through my phone though. But
It's because you didn't have your phone on you. Because
Yeah.
you were being so good.
yeah, see, there we don't even have pictures. Do you want to give us
Okay,
or do you want to go off mine?
Oh, there we go. Okay.
for clubs, we have FFA, next week on the 22nd. We're having a meeting at 5:30, and they are going to discuss agriculture cell competition and the upcoming Halloween dress-up contest to win a prize. The FFA officers have already competed in district ritual competitions where they got 3rd place in the advanced team, and Alex won best advanced individual reporter. The officer team is having an officer retreat and planning ahead of the year of the 25th. And then National Honor Society, the last meeting was discussion about leadership positions, and we actually ended up getting the position. So I'm the vice president, Gabby vice, Julian is the treasurer, Valeria as secretary, and Madeline as the historian. The next project we will be talking about is the annual blood drive, which is scheduled on November 13th. Inklink is getting started and expected to have their first newspaper in students' hands right after homecoming. Yearbook crew has been focusing on doing staff spotlights and finding aspects of other yearbooks that they want to introduce into Jervis. The yearbook price is actually expected to drop tomorrow. And as for Agua de Oro, they're having practices for a Dia de los Muertos performance at the elementary school on October 30th. And we just had voting for officer position.
Nice.
And now for sports, for our football team, they had 4 wins and 2 losses. And tomorrow they will have a home game against Kennedy, which is our homecoming game. After this Friday, they will have 2 more games, and if they win, we go to playoffs. And our football senior night is on October 31st. For our volleyball team, they have a game on Monday against Kennedy as well. Their last game is on Tuesday, which is also the same night against them. Tuesday, I think. And then both male and female soccer teams had their senior night last week on October 7th. The fall 2025 soccer season is approaching its end. The boys soccer team have their last game, which is tomorrow, against Western Christian. And the girls soccer team has 2 games left. If they win those last 2 games, they make playoffs as well. They had a game today at 4:15 against Western Christian, and their last game is next Monday, which is a home game. For our cross country team, cross country has been hard at work. They have been doing lots of running and conditioning for the season. They say that it is an awesome season so far, and everyone is meeting their personal record, and the coaches rewarded them for that.
Nice. All right, some other things that have been going on in the school is evening school. As you guys know, you're failing classes, you have to like get enrolled into evening school. So people are in that or they're not, and they that helps them bring their grades up. Some things that are happening with college and career are there's gonna be a college writing workshop for like seniors on November 5th, where like they can they already have an essay. They submit an essay where they're gonna like give feedback on, and then they're gonna like build up on it during that time. I think that starts from like 8 to 12, like 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I think, but it's on a Wednesday, so like almost the whole day. And then we had macho volleyball this week as well, as because it's homecoming, and seniors took the win. We got first place. The freshmen got second place. Juniors took third, and fourth place was sophomores. This whole week we also had a lot of assemblies. On Monday it was Adam Sandler Day. Tuesday was Dress as Your Type. Wednesday was Senior Citizen Day. Today was Twin Day, and tomorrow is Rodeo Day. And we love how the students are like, oh, if you guys see them, they have so much school spirit now. Like, whoa, it's a competition. The competition. If you
Is
guys,
there a prize, like for which class
I
participates
think
the
we're
most?
just gonna get a yummy treat for this week. Yeah, but if you go up and then there should be like a board there showing like points of like the whole grades of who's winning for spirit points. And tomorrow we'll be having the football game against Kennedy for homecoming. I believe the theme would be rodeo as well. I'm not sure on that one, but I think so. And we're gonna have our homecoming parade, welcome all the homecoming corps, and then
What time is that starting at?
I think I should start at the normal time. Doors open at 6. It starts at 7, and then there's also bonfire. That's what I forgot to mention. Bonfire from 9:30 to 10:30. So that should be fun. And then homecoming, of course, Saturday from 7 to 10. Yeah. Doors close at 8. But yeah.
Nice. So what do you think has increased the school spirit?
Oh, not having the phones for sure.
It was making, right, yeah,
No.
they want something to do.
Yes. It's really competitive with the students.
is coming through.
Yeah. They're having to talk to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Everyone comes together now.
That's great.
Is homecoming dance here?
Yes, at the cafeteria.
Okay.
After the game or the next day? I didn't.
Oh, it was Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Yes.
The
Saturday.
theme is Blast to the Past.
Oh.
We forgot to
Class to the past or class from the
to You guys want to hear homecoming hallway decoration?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the decorations for seniors was Wild West. Juniors was Ancient Egypt. Sophomores was Dinosaur Era, and then freshman disco.
Okay.
The decorations are pretty torn down by now, but they were really
That was
nice.
the
though.
first day.
Yes, good for the first.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably see some pictures in nameplate on it, about the halls and things.
Pretty sure they've been taking pictures all around, so maybe yeah.
Facebook post.
Facebook,
Mr. Raymond.
yes.
Oh yeah, maybe for Mr. Raymond. Yeah.
Probably going to check see if he has some
Okay, I think that's it from us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, lady.
You're
Very good job.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Always.
Thanks for having us.
Nice work, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Howell.
You too.
Up next. He's got it.
Or big-
Do you want to have the
Sure.
controller? Here you go.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Lots of really good things going on in the world of student services. We remain exceptionally busy all the time. At the start of the school year, September, October, we tend to be really front loaded. By we, it's me, tend to be really front loaded with a lot of state reportable stuff. ODE tends to make a lot of decisions about when things are due. Like the departments don't talk to each other very well, so they all just kind of independently decide things are due at certain times, and they all just kind of. So you know, I had so much intention to get going on the school year and be in classrooms, and all of a sudden, and then I had to make a hard left because all these things had to get submitted and written up, and all these reports and stuff like that. So. I have been kind of secluded in my office to start this year more than I wanted to, but things are kind of clearing out, so I'm getting ready to kind of get out and be with folks more often than I have been so far. ELD Spotlight is for Elena Bell, our ELD teacher at the elementary school. There's some really just great stuff that she's doing, and I just kind of wanted to draw attention to that. So she is a finalist for ODE's Educator Advancement Council. It's an initiative that ODE does where they bring together teachers and other educators throughout the state, and they really just kind of serve as an advisory role of what's going on in different regions and different districts, and they just kind of get together and brainstorm as a way to kind of help decision makers within ODE kind of have a better understanding of what's actually happening out there. And so she's applied for and she's a finalist for that particular position, which is really neat. You can kind of see a little bit of the description of what it is. It is based on a Senate bill from 2017 and kind of what it does. So it's really neat that she's participating in that. She recently presented at the Oregon Science Teachers Association in Newport on all the really successful stuff that we're doing with ELD and science at the elementary school. Which I really appreciate her initiative to like get out there and continue to spread the word as to what we're doing. And then finally, she has really taken the reins in terms of using AI as a tool in her classroom. And she uses a couple of tools, but the one that she uses most frequently is called Magic School AI. And she basically puts different classrooms in this AI platform together, and the students, it generates practice ELPA activities, and they usually spend about their Fridays just doing ELPA prep through AI work and things like that. And it's going really well. So I think for everything that we've kind of pushed with the elementary school to just be on the forefront of what we can do with ELD best practices, like she's taking a lot of initiative with it. And I think it's really, I'm proud of it. And I think it's great to draw a little bit of attention to. There was a header, I think, before I got to here, but ODE requires they release a document every single year that's kind of the ELD snapshot, and one of the requirements is that we have to present that to the board. It's a 45-page document. I thought at first I just wanted to read the whole thing to you, but just in the interest of getting out here before 11:30, I summarized the document into about 4 or 5 just kind of main things that the document touched on, and then I kind of brought in some of the district level data that kind of compares and contrasts. So the first one, it says it's about English learner population growth and diversity. It's finding that right now about 1 in 5 Oregon students are ELs. The number of recently arrived immigrant students rose 37% from the past year. There's 247 documented languages throughout, and obviously Spanish remains the primary language spoken, but there are several others that are also widely spoken. The implication from the document is that districts must prepare for increasingly multilingual classrooms and develop systems to help language access, which I think we as a small district of our ilk, like we do a tremendous job with that. If you look at our numbers, our current load of about 287 ELs district-wide, 97 are in monitoring status, about 94 in former status. That brings our total student body, not just the current number, but overall those that have been in EL now or in the past, at over 50% of our district. Which speaks pretty significantly to like what, when I share with the staff, so go REL, so go the whole district. It's because more than every other student in one capacity or another has been or is an English language learner. So number 2, persistent academic achievement gaps. So it does say that only 6.6% of current ELs in elementary grades meet or exceed their ELA standards. 7.6% meet or exceed their math standards. And then when we look at older ELs, so we're looking kind of middle school or high schoolers at that point, the numbers are pretty low in terms of those that are showing proficiency rates on our ELA and math standards. Obviously, the implication, there's an urgent need for sustained academic intervention, language integration, better scaffolding. For our particular district, I don't believe that those numbers leap off of the screen to say that's worthy of celebration. I think that we have done significant work with our ELP, our ELPA proficiency rate growth over the last several years, but how that has translated to SBAC scores, their ELA testing, their math testing, their science testing, we're not seeing that translation as quickly. That is to be somewhat expected. It's kind of a lagging indicator of getting language proficiency and then applying that language proficiency to something else. Our numbers are higher than the state average. But again, when I look at that, I don't sit there and say our work is done, right? I think like there's, we're moving in the right direction to be sure. But I think that there is still a lot of space to sit down and figure out. Let's celebrate the fact that we're doing better and we're moving in the right direction, but we're nowhere near where we can be and should be. And let's not lose sight of that. Overrepresentation in special education, underrepresentation in TAG. 18.8% of current English language learners are dual identified as also having a special education disability. So about 1 out of 5 ELs also are SPED identified, which in the state of Oregon, and I won't go into this too deep, but nationwide, but also in the state of Oregon, it's a really complex thing to try to distill. If you have a child that's an English language learner and they're not performing well in academic domains other than just language acquisition, like is the barrier a cognitive issue or is it a language issue? And there is no measurement tool that really exists that is designed to try and identify that. And so we have to do a lot of different things to try and figure that out. And to say that 18.8% are dual identified, maybe that is appropriate, but the state is saying that's too high of a number because they put that SPED threshold as the state funds it at 11% of your district should be special education identified. Anything over that, they don't give you more money for it. So they're saying that your EL population, if you were doing it correctly, should be right around 11% dual identified as well, because you'd want that number to kind of match what's out there already or what they say should be out there. So they're saying that we're overrepresented for dual identification. The TAG one's pretty abysmal, saying that only 0.5% of current ELs are identified as talented and gifted, whereas 7% of non-EL peers, 14 times disparity. And so in our district, We actually, only 4% of our students are dual identified for our ELs. So we actually have worked really hard, and that is in part a nod to Raul Gomez. When he was here, he and I built kind of a tool that we still use that isn't perfect, but especially at the elementary level at the care team process, like that is a box that they check during the evaluative phase to say, have we considered language as a barrier more than the cognitive components? What are the most recent ELPA scores? What are growth? So like when we're going through that evaluative phase to determine if a student is eligible for special education services, at the elementary school specifically, we are very, very intentional to at least look at that. And I think that's helped us try and make inroads there in terms of ensuring that we're not over-identifying in that capacity. In our district, we do not currently have any of our TAG students are identified as English language learners. So we sit at 0% there compared to 6.7% of our student body. I think that, again, and this has been talked about in a variety of different platforms, the last 2 or 3 years, our district has made exceptional strides with respect to TAG processes and identifications and things of that nature. So again, we are pointed in the right direction, but to say that 0% of our TAG identified students are also English language learners begs the question, are we identifying correctly? Or are we missing anything there? We may not, we may be, but I think we still need to ask that question. So attendance, graduation, post-secondary gaps, regular attendance is lower for current ELs at all grades. Graduation rates, former ELs at 87.8%, your current ELs at 68%. So your ELs are 2.5 times more likely to be earning a modified diploma if they're an EL in that sense. Implications, strong EL programming early on, which has been something that we have been breathing for the last 4 years. Leads to long-term success, but attendance and reclassification barriers in middle and high school remains pretty critical intervention points. In our district, at the elementary school, our EL regular attendance rate is 83.57. At the middle school, 82.26. Those are strong numbers, especially comparative to your state numbers at 65.4% at the elementary, and I think that the Talking Germs box is covering that up, but 59.6%. So our middle school and our elementary numbers really strong. Obviously, we take a pretty big dip here. But again, there's context, but then it's not an excuse. The context is that by the time that they get to high school, if they have not tested proficient at the ELPA exam, statistically speaking, they are going to graduate as an English language learner forever EL. And so they've already kind of bought into that false narrative they can't pass it. And so you already started building on this narrative that I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, which permeates into a lot of other components of their life. It just doesn't stay in the classroom. So it makes sense that number is here. It's obviously still significantly higher than the state number. I'll take that. But this also tells me that, given our we have 10 ELs that are juniors and seniors right now. And like, there should be no reason with that low of a number that we don't have the ability to rally and try to figure things out. And to be sure, like Andrew and Doug and that team, like, we're not just looking the other way. Like, there is a lot of attention being paid, but still that number is low.
But the test gets a lot harder.
It does, yeah. The test gets harder, so it's much harder to pass. So yeah. And then our EL at the high school, their on-time graduation rate percentage for the most recently publicly available data is 81%. So it's strong. So we're doing okay in those classes. And then so we had 4. Okay, so those were our 4 summaries of that statewide EL document. So I think the takeaway is that we're doing well, and I'm proud of the work that we're doing, but it shows, as it always does, that there's still work to be done.
But I think that formula of you're catching them early.
Yeah.
And getting them in a little, whereas as you learn, once you get to high school, it's really hard to get them through.
It is, yeah. And I think that you're right. The attention that we paid over the last several years to really pour intentionally into the elementary school and then up to the middle school will pay dividends. It just takes a little while for that to filter its way in that direction.
What'd you say, junior? You have 10
ELs that are currently receiving services are juniors or seniors. Yeah. Yeah.
Have those 10 by chance been in in our school district for their entire time?
I would have to look at each one of them individually, but the likelihood is either yes, or they transferred into us as a lot of times when we, especially the newcomers that we have at the high school, a lot of the newcomers come to us as middle schoolers or ninth graders. And then when that happens, their language acquisition is already so far behind compared to what's being taught at that level that the cards are so stacked against them to be able to worry about ELD in a sense. There's just so many other things that are going on. So, I mean, they certainly apply and they do their best, but from the sense of like the likelihood of them testing proficient on that exam is, again, it's a difficult proposition.
Yeah. I think still figure out a form to-
Yeah. More will be shared in the November school board meeting because that's that's when Sarah and I share out goal 1 of the strategic plan, but that goal 1 centered on providing trauma-informed professional development for the staff. So just kind of briefly on October 10th, her name is Kristen Sowers. She's the author of those 2 books, Fostering Resilient Learners, Strategies for Creating Trauma-Sensitive Classrooms, and then Relationship, Responsibility, and Regulation. I have a prior professional relationship with Kristen. I've known her for a while. I reached out to her and said, would you create 45-minute videos specific to the Jervis School District that is very specific to practical things that teachers can do in their classrooms, K through 12. And then on statewide in-service day, our staff can log in, they can watch that video in Teams, they have a little exit ticket, they reflect on it, they submit it. And that's what we did. And it was fantastic. And we still have a number. And so we'll report more specifically in the November board meeting when we talk about how we met that goal. But just kind of briefly, these are staff quotes that came from their reflections after watching the video. Theirs and students, their behavior is not about you. It's not happening to you. It's happening in front of you. And it's okay to help a child find someone else to help if you're not able to handle their problem today. I think that's a pretty mature thing to say for educators who all of us have a savior complex, like we do. And so to be able to say that is a mature approach to a situation. Model positive relationships and have inclusive environments to build strong social skills, acknowledge their frustrations and emotions and help guide them to reset themselves. Empathy is crucial. Honesty about my own state of regulation builds relationships. It's possible to be both strict and kind, and the combination builds trust, creating consistency and predictability. And then I will try to determine which type of need is not being met from my toughest nuggets or tough nuggets who just don't participate in class. I will try to incorporate more self-reflection around behaviors. So those came from our staff. It's just a quick 4 that I grabbed. And I thought that's, after reflection of that 45-minute video, I thought that was a really positive takeaway. So excited to share more at the next board meeting. And then finally, on the 25th of October, we have a unified bocce ball tournament up at Wilsonville High School. So we're looking to send a couple kids up there. They've been actually practicing almost daily. We've got bocce ball sets. They go out to the softball field right behind the transition program building with Ricardo and Andre, and they have been practicing bocce ball. And we have gone from taking the ball and just throwing it to actually targeting the white ball, and they're doing really well. And then emails started going out today. We are going to have a full squad for unified basketball. We're going to expand. I'm trading emails right now with the unified coordinator for Salem-Keizer School District. We're going to get McNary. We're going to go to a tournament in Sprague. We're going to grab Woodburn School District and their unified team. We'll get a couple from Silverton. So we're going to expand our season this year and grab quite a few basketball. And in district, we don't have enough players for a full squad with subs. So even though we're not partnering in district with our transition program with North Merritt again, we're going to partner with them for unified basketball and have enough to be able to play a great season. So yeah, pretty fun. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Karen. Wasn't sure if the mayor was coming.
I really wanted to have all of the funds and the balances in all of the funds done but there were a few that needed some updates, and the accounting software went down earlier this afternoon. It's not come back up. Oh, I'll just save that for next, month. I will say that right now, our general fund is sitting at 1.353 million. The charter school fund is 968,663, and this is the ending balance from 24-25. So it's not what's in there right now, because obviously, like Frontier Charter, we've had more, or the charter school fund, we've had more added to that since then. I also want to point out, because I had a meeting with Melinda today, that food service ended 24-25 with over 198,000 in their account. And that was really good. And their summer program for 2025, which runs June, July, and August, they spent 290,000 and brought in revenues of 559,000. So it was a 268 over, almost $269,000 profit. And we also expect about 4,000 or 5,000 more to come into that same pocket for the summer school. They really, if she didn't have that program, we would have ended this year negative in food service. So that's a really good positive program that we have going there with what she does. And she was saying, I think it was one other entity that does more in Oregon than our small school district. And they're running it to a bunch of different locations. They're kind of like a food share type of place. So they did really well. So on page 28 of your board report, just wanted to point out on the bottom of the page, you see the general fund revenues, previous year, current year. That's big difference is because the beginning fund balance is not in there yet. And when that beginning fund balance does come in, it will include the charter schools. So that will be about 2.3 million reflected in that when it does come in. But you will see the general fund expenditures for the same time this year are about 300,000 higher. And then on page 30, didn't mean to startle you with this figure on my board report, but on the ending fund balance of 714 is low when we have a budgeted contingency of 1.13 million, because we never want to end the year below what our contingency is, because if we get to that point, we have to get a board approval to dip into that, and we don't want to do that. So I did do a little look back on October of prior years. I went back to 2021, but 2021 was so off because of COVID. So I started at 21-22 and went through to 24-25. And historically in October, the projection has run low to the tune, every single one of those years I looked at, it was in between 200,000 and 749,000 lower than what we actually end our year at. So although we're going to keep a very close eye on this, there is a little pattern that October kind of runs low. And I'm going to look at a lot of those things that could be impacting how the encumbrances are running through payroll, reviewing our revenue side too, again, and just making sure everything's kind of, dialed in. So we get real, especially when we have a tight year, which is needed to be back to.
So when have you seen, since you kind of see that October is low, it go back up?
Yeah, it will go back up as the year goes on. There's kind of little periods in time where we've seen it kind of dip low, where I'm like, oh, this is getting really low. And I can go back and research kind of when we tend to see the uptick from it. But yeah, right. For some reason, this one comes in kind of low. And I think because of I think it's mostly the encumbrances, but we've also encumbered all kinds of things for like our transportation, where we hadn't in the past fully encumbered that. This year we're fully, bringing that into what we're looking at. So there's just a lot, and we're doing that with sub costs too, because sub costs were so huge last year. So we are encumbering a big pocket for sub costs. And and then kind of removing it as we pay the bill for some cost. So just a couple different things that are kind of impacting within this too. So we will look and make sure, that we're not truly going to end that low.
Yeah,
As we
so
go
to
on.
say, some details would be great, because this number is not good, and especially it's not good with what we're dealing with our community right now,
Right.
of finances and what they think we spend on and don't spend.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely important that that's not that low.
Right. Okay. Are there any questions? Other than, okay. Okay.
Down here, straighten stuff out. Okay, the first part of my board report has to do with some student achievement that I wanted to highlight. Creighton already kind of set the tone for that. And so I wanted to give you some preliminary information. I don't know if y'all saw the Woodburn Independent today.
We were there, we were there in a
We got a headline.
right?
State testing shows Woodburn lagging, Jervis and North Marion catching up in English, math, and science. So
There we go.
in the full article, it talks about how Jervis is actually the highest of those three districts. I don't know that I've ever been here when we've had a headline talking about our improved test scores. So
We're gonna take it.
It's a
We're
win.
gonna take it.
I mean, obviously the scores are not where they need to be, as Creighton said, but I think when we go through a little bit more of this, you're going to see like that we have the behind the scenes data supporting
Right.
what we're seeing. So
Going
Yeah.
the right way.
so in your packet I had included these screenshots just so that you maybe had a chance to look at them a little bit more in depth if you wanted to. But the first one has to deal with our English language art in all grades at the elementary school. So you can see that there's an uptick. Obviously, we're not at pre-COVID levels yet, but we're getting closer. And you can see here with the third grade score specifically, that's the state benchmark where they really start taking a look at that. And you can see that we are actually back at pre-pandemic levels in that grade level. So good work there. Language arts for our teachers at that level. Cindy Smith and her team of IAs pushing in and really using iReady, and the curriculum is paying off. Let's see here. The next slide that I wanted to show you is Jervis Middle School. This is page 37 of your packet. So if you look at this light blue column right here, this is last year's 7th graders. ODE gave Jervis School District a shout out because our ELLs in 7th grade, those students improved 22%. And that was considered like a very high level of achievement throughout the whole state. So I think it's a real testament to Amanda and her teaching skills. She is doing really good work.
Yeah.
So definitely in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you look at the next slide, Jervis High School Language Arts, last year where it's really small or there's a dip, this would be the year where, kids just had the attitude of, well, I don't really care. And we had really low, participation rate was hard. It was hard to get them motivated. They didn't see a value in it. And so definitely having those conversations with teachers about how do we shift that culture and the idea of like, if you don't do well on the test as an 11th grader, you're going to take it again as a senior, or you're going to have to do a work sample or something else. So just pass the test and you can cross it off your list and be done. And that's been one of the probably unintended consequences when the governor and ODE got rid of the requirement for graduation of passing the test or demonstrating proficiency. Well, then the motivation to take the test and be done with it, went away. So it doesn't mean anything to these kids, because at least with 3rd graders, 4th, 5th, they go back and they look at the test the next year. So the 7th graders will look at their 6th grade test, 4th graders look at their 3rd grade test. seniors don't take the test again.
Right.
So they don't ever see it and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're definitely working on changing that perception. See here, when you look at, we heard a report from Tony about math at the middle school where we had a staff member out. A significant portion of the year, the math teacher, and that they struggled to find a sub that was skilled in that area, and so that our scores definitely reflected what happens when you don't have that teacher in the classroom in front of your kids.
Yeah.
So
Which is a great indicator to you teachers, like it makes a difference.
it does. They make a
When you
difference
are
every-
invested and
Yep.
you give, it does make a difference.
Yep.
My son struggled.
yeah, it's
I
tough.
was so frustrated.
Yeah. And then these are just the report cards that come out. We have to put these out to the community. I'll do that in the next few weeks. So you can see our numbers are up, in the areas they should be up and down in the areas that they should be down for the elementary school. But what is perhaps the most interesting is the behind the scenes, this table. So I'm gonna figure this out. Here we go. Thinking. So what's really interesting for us to look at is this stands for ELA, English Language Arts Achievement, and then the change. And then you have math and then the change. And the idea is that kids take the test and then they look at the subgroup populations or the focal groups, and they want to know how much more did those focal group students improve compared to the non-focal group. It's called closing the achievement gap. So Creighton talked about non-ELs, how they perform higher than your EL students, right? So when you're looking at students experiencing poverty or English learners or students with disabilities, like we want their levels to be in the green or in the blue, which means the achievement gap is closing. That means all kids are performing at this high level, not just the non-SPED kids, and then the SPED kids are paid. We don't want to see that. And so if you look at the elementary school, you can see that they've got lots of blue, level 5, that's the highest level you can have, and the arrow means that they improved over last year. And so if you look at, there's lots of green, so that's what we're wanting to see. We want to see markers in level 3, 4, and 5. And so they are definitely, doing the right work. And
They're going in the right direction.
Progress for sure. So, and then this just kind of breaks it down more in depth, but we kind of talked about that. Here's your middle school, your arrows, mathematics again. So 8th grade down. You knew that was going to happen. But English language arts or above the Oregon average overall, they went up 11%. But again, that's, a lot of the 7th graders with 72% for our ELs was important.
Math and our science being down.
Math and science, science was not really any change, they said. Our 8th graders did a little bit better, but our 7th graders did not, which is not surprising because as 6th graders, they didn't really have much science.
Right.
So it's getting better. But this is, again, the tail. If you look behind the scenes at what's happening with your middle school kids, look at all of the level 5s that they have, both in math and in English language arts. The learning is happening. Just takes some time for it to trickle down into this particular test. And then here's your high school. And again, so high school, because graduation rate, you're looking at 80 seniors. So 1 or 2 kids can really skew you either way. Still above the state average in all those categories, 5-year completer, and on-time graduation.
Ninth graders.
Our 9th graders on track. It's difficult to get a 9th grader to understand why in 3.5 years this is going to be a problem. And so that's why they implemented the policy this year is the minute you start failing in class, you get to go to night school.
Night school.
So I'm expecting that this rate will look different next year. So, and then we went up a percentage point in college going kids. So they're making progress.
Does that also include, that doesn't include like trade school? when they go for college going?
It,
4 years.
is only just a 2 or 4 year. So if we could get into the clearinghouse, this is one thing I've asked the counseling department to look at, like, okay, this is a great number. But then also look about the kids that we know that went to a trade school
Right.
or an apprenticeship program, so we can compare. Because that's not, that shouldn't be the only.
Right.
No, and actually, I think they should be comparing the two, not against each other,
Right.
but to each other.
Right.
For the simple fact of seeing where are our kids really
Right.
going and motivated
Right.
to.
And, you know, if 100% of our kids are either going to trade school, apprentice, or right into work,
Right.
or college, then we've done our job,
Right.
right? So, more to come on that. And then here's behind the scenes in our high school. So, you know, the cohort, the 4-year and the 5-year completers are lots of green and blue, but this is problematic. And so I had my first conversation last week with the math department, and we talked about the importance of them looking at interim assessments, about them using the digital component in the curriculum, that when you give the assessments that are digital, it tracks the standards for you, and it quickly helps you call out what is the problem instead of you having to look at each assignment and figure it out yourself. I don't think they can work any harder. I think they need to work smarter.
Yes.
And also sharing with them that my expectation, or my, it's not even a perception. My expectation is that this will get better. This is not acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And I will be having the same conversation with ELA and science. So I let the high school principal have that conversation first. They kind of talk through what's happening, what are we gonna do? And then I come in from a district perspective and say, look, I poured a lot of resources into the elementary and middle school and it's working. And I get it takes time for it to trickle up. But what are you going to do in the immediate future to do your part? And they also know that I then share this with the board because the board is concerned about academic achievement as well. We get more details there. So any particular questions about student achievement in terms of what's going to come out on the report card when I get that published next week? Week after.
Good to know that we're in the paper and it's on a good note.
Yeah. Fun to win.
Of all these reports and everything that we would put on the district for parents to look at, that article did more for that than any of the stuff we do for
Oh, yeah.
for feeling good about our district.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not even just that, but if you think about through all of our, bond meetings and open sessions of the people talking about, our rates of the testings and whatnot, like this is a good example, like we're trying and our teachers are working hard and we're seeing that improvement. It doesn't happen overnight. It's gonna take time, but we're seeing it. So that's good.
Can we get into the yearbook?
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
You get into your
With no pictures though, because we don't.
book.
In the rest of my report, I wanted to highlight Willamette Career Academy. So you have the summary of the entire program from last year in terms of what kids learned overall of all of the students participating. But in my report on page 56, I broke it out based on our own individual kids so that you can have that as well. Because I like to know, in cosmetology, how many of Jervis kids earned certifications and in what areas. And then if our kids aren't successful in certain areas in terms of they can't pass the test or they can't get the certification, I want to know why, because if there's something we're not doing at the 9th and 10th grade that is putting them behind, or that they can't be competitive with their peers that go to Willamette Career Academy, we want to know that so we can improve their chances. So again, fabulous program. I think all of our slots are filled. We're sponsoring 2 homeschool kids to access the program. So we code them as just under 0.5 FTE, so they don't count against their graduation rate. But then we can get the ADM for them, and we turn that over to Willamette Career Academy to pay for their slot. And then their parents have to just put in a couple $100 to finish it out.
Yeah, I'm looking into one of these right now.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So do we cart them there or do they get themselves there?
But both.
Oh.
Yeah. So if they live close to the academy, then they can just drive themselves. But if they're in town, we'll take them. It's a good partnership.
And how many slots do we have?
We're paying for 33 right now, 33. We're one of the highest. I
Because
think, I
we
mean, for a
take-
school our size, we are definitely the largest
Because you've taken some from other schools, yes? That didn't fulfill
Slots.
slots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mhm, for sure.
Because we get only so many.
Yeah, when we first started the program, I think our slot total was 22. That's what we were allotted. And then, you know, as I have been of the stance that if there's any kid that wants to participate and is eligible, we need to find a way to get them in the program. So,
And I'm proud to say that Jervis is like one of the platinum districts of WCA, and the fact that they have not dropped slots. Many
Oh.
districts have dropped
Dropped
slots, and
Can't fill it.
nope, and Jervis
How
is
weird.
increased.
Especially because their schools all like us, they're in rural type setting.
But also, it
You just-
also stems from your leadership though, and what they
Yeah.
want to push and offer, you
Mhm.
know. If it's not
I
their
know.
passion, it doesn't become the student's passion.
I think what definitely works is making sure that the school district follows the guidance that Willamette Career Academy provides to the district about how they need to kind of recruit kids. It's not enough just to have a table up during lunchtime in the cafeteria. Kids aren't gonna
Get engaged.
yeah, they're talking with their friends, they're doing their own thing. You have to really follow their recommendations and allow them access to your kids. And I don't view it as competing with our CTE programs because while the construction class overlaps a little bit, there's many programs we don't offer that Willamette Career Academy does, and vice versa. They don't offer culinary arts and the digital art that we do. So I think there's room for both.
100%.
So pretty happy about that. In my board report, also on page, can't read it, 57 is an update on the bond advisory committee work, and that's just your annual report. I didn't know if you had any questions on that. Scott Rose will present later tonight about a bond update, but everybody was at the architects, the contractors, and Scott was at the bond advisory committee meeting that was in September. And so the bond advisory committee is very happy with what's going on and the progress that we're making. So
Good.
I like that they also found out about the sidewalk.
yeah.
They can light a fire.
So also in your packet, I have or at the side of your packet, you see an update from it's called Public Testimony to the Jervis City Council. So on the cover page is the testimony that I gave, and then the supporting documentation that I provided to support my public comment. Happy to report that the room was packed with supporters of the district in terms of please work with the city, and don't cut the trees down, and we don't want a sidewalk to nowhere. And
I love the tree banners.
I do too, I saw that.
Like that. Yeah, there's a tree banner. Or the
Yeah, there's little
tree, like,
ribbons around.
Don't
Oh,
yeah. Save the trees.
Save the tree.
So, haven't received any feedback yet from the city, so I don't know where we're at with that, but you know, we did that.
You'll probably, as far as paperwork and things like that, everything got put in? Did you have to put some paperwork in for the
We did, yes, we filed, we met the deadline to file the appeal,
appeal?
and you're gonna go into executive session later tonight and hear from your attorney on what that looks like.
That's
So.
that's
Okay, I think that's it for my report.
Or focus. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to chat about? Well, I would like to say thank you to all of our principals since it's Principal Appreciation Month. You guys are all doing an amazing job, and we appreciate all that you do, and you make a difference greatly in this community, and we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you for taking our kid.
it.
Keeping him at school. Doing great, yeah. We kind of touched on it last board meeting, about our joint possible meeting with the city council. You know, what is everybody's thoughts on that?
I do have, I got this from Rick, the city manager. You have it? Oh, yeah, very good. Okay,
So this is what they're planning to talk about.
yeah.
Um, That's the 23rd Thursday.
So I guess that's the first thing. Is everybody available this day? I don't think at this point we know from them who's coming, but
Yes, 7 p.m. The meeting starts later. It'll be here. I asked who all is attending. I said, I'm assuming I need seating for the council people, the mayor, you know, Rick, and whom else? I don't know if they're bringing their attorney. I would consider that to be a little awkward if they brought their attorney.
well, what would be the reason they would need to bring their attorney? I mean, we're not making any decisions. It's simply a talk,
Right.
right? So I would feel comfortable if their attorney was here. I mean, I don't feel like at any of the meetings I've been to that he wants to work with the Jervis School District. So that immediately puts up a red flag for me.
Mhm.
So.
I mean, I can make the meeting. I have that, actually, it's on my calendar. That's clear, right?
So I guess if we go forward with this meeting, how does that actually look? You know, I mean, like, we're just gonna, okay, our first topic is A and we're just going.
Yeah,
to chat
I
about
will
it,
lead. So
or-
what's supposed to happen is like, I'll talk about student population trends and what's happening.
Sure.
And I think Rick and I together will be talking about city housing development and how the lack of affordable housing for young families impacts our enrollment at the elementary school. And then he'll probably share what the city is thinking about doing to try and improve those opportunities for families. You know, where it gets tricky is C, school improvement project and plans. I mean,
Cause we haven't heard back anything, right? Of
Yeah.
what we're already
mhm.
proposing.
And that's where it's gonna come. Are we gonna get the monkey off the back, or are we just gonna, just kind of gloss over it and then wait till we get everything going? This could probably wait until we found out exactly what's happening. Yes. Or is there some things
yeah,
on there that
I
we need
just,
to-
my advice, my advice comes back and forth. Part of me says, let's just keep the meeting. But the other part of me says, like, if they're gonna bring their attorney, we're not interested in having them, because our attorney's not gonna be there, and this is supposed to be a conversation.
Right.
Can we clarify that? We can.
Well, and I would also like to know for sure who's gonna be in attendance.
Yeah.
Because if it's gonna be two of them, then I would prefer not to have the meeting. You know,
I mean, I would like to see the whole council,
Right.
the whole council with the mayor. I mean, that's what would be like you said, if there's only two of them show up.
Yeah.
So how about I can reach back out to Rick, and I can ask, are you going to have a quorum there?
Perfect.
Mhm.
And then, is your attorney coming? If they're not gonna have a quorum,
Sure.
you want me to cancel it?
Yes,
If they're gonna have a quorum, but their attorney is gonna be there.
I don't need to.
Is that,
Well, I mean, like, he didn't want to hear anything that we had to say that
Yeah.
night. So you're gonna come here and have a conversation. Are you gonna be open to conversation, or are you gonna just shut down?
Just be arrogant.
So I guess that's my biggest concern. That's not gonna get us anywhere, and then that's a waste of everybody's time.
And it's just
Do you
gonna-
want to put it in his report to the council or to make that adjustment?
yeah, I will just say, like, I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him again, who is coming? Are you going to have a quorum? I'm assuming you're coming, Rick. Is your city recorder coming? And, is your attorney coming? And then we'll see what he says. If so, if he gives me the answers, no quorum and or an attorney, am I clear? The board is telling me to ask, we're gonna postpone the
We'll
meeting.
postpone. Yes, because at that point, I really want to know what our status is on that, on the sidewalk, what exactly we're going to do. Sorry.
Mhm.
Because
Leah, is that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, especially with the sidewalk being such an issue now.
I guess the next question becomes though,
When do we
will
find
we
out?
hear from them? You know what I mean? Like, how long will that be?
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of these things I feel are very important that we do need to talk about. But yet it takes both sides and parties to work together. So if we're not proving those steps in the process, then
yeah, and we don't even know why not, you will be there, right? We
Yeah,
can't make the
we
meeting,
can.
so we
Mhm.
will have the quorum.
Mhm.
If they want to be here also for that.
I'll double check with Maria and Anna. I think Anna's gonna be here for sure.
Because Maria's been traveling a
Yeah.
lot, so.
I think she said at one of ours she wasn't gonna make it maybe, but I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
Do we, if we do have this meeting, so can we, address that sidewalk or no?
Sure you can.
Because I mean, it is part of C, no?
But I don't think they could give us obviously any
Yeah, they
decision. I mean,
No.
like, no, none of us can make decisions. It's
Right.
just simply talking. and-
talking.
At least we should address it. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, the elephants, and, you know, bring the
Yeah.
elephant out of the room or whatever.
Well, then you might as well add to that list our SRO.
I mean,
like,
why
if
beat
we're
around the
gonna,
bush?
if we're gonna get to the point.
I think when we go into executive session, let's get clarification from our attorney about
Ah.
if the sidewalk issue comes up.
Okay.
But you can definitely address the SRO. Okay. All right.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss or bring up? Okay, on to consent items.
Any question?
Mm-mm.
I'll make the motion to move the Durham School District and one board of directors approve the consent items listed in mass, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
A motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, I second, sorry.
Perfect. All right, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye, perfect.
action. Thank you for making it nice and precise.
Yes. You know what? Do you want to go ahead and move Scott to the top of the action items?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, let me move him to panelist. So while Scott's popping over to panelist, the motion is 8.4. And it is on,
The motion,
yeah, it's on page 82 of your packet. And the backside of that, as well as the proposals. Scott, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
hello.
So take it away.
Hi there. You can hear me okay? Okay, good. All right, well, this will be brief, but this is really good news. If you'll recall, in July, we came to you when the company McKinstry had bid out the replacement of the mechanical system at the elementary school, and their bids came in at, and it was more of a design build process. Their bids came in at 2.75 million, and that was approximately 900,000 over our budget. And that was even after we did some significant value engineering and looking at the project in December of last year. So we came to the board and we said, look, this doesn't look like this is a good fit for the district, and we would like to go out and more traditionally hard bid the project and solicit multiple school mechanical contractors. There were only 2 mechanical contractors that had bid on it under the McKinstry package, and neither were awarded, and McKinstry was doing it self-performed. And so they were doing about 90% of the work. So we reached out to 12 school mechanical contractors that we knew that we'd worked with, and we did walkthroughs. We did a couple walkthroughs, and we received bids, and you'll see the bids in the packet. We actually had 7 bids, which was great. I think that's also, I think that's a bit reflective of kind of where we're at in the industry right now. There's a little bit less infrastructure work in the country, and so as such, I think bidders are a little bit more hungry. The low bidder was Copper Mechanical at $1,059,000, and we recently worked with them in Evergreen School District on a couple projects, mechanical system replacement projects. So knew of them. They were one of the 12 that we reached out to. They were about $200,000 lower than the next bidder. So I did what I typically do anytime anybody's over 10% low, is I call them up and I say, okay, you've left some money on the table here. Did you make any mathematical error in your bid? We cannot allow them to withdraw their bid unless they can prove within 48 hours a technical mathematical error and show beyond a shadow of a doubt that they made a mathematical error. Then you can let them withdraw their bid. They certainly cannot modify their bid. But no, they looked at their bid. They said, no, we feel really good with the number. We feel very comfortable with it. We said, great. And to note, though, I want to make sure that this board understands apples and apples, is that this is for the mechanical system replacement at $1,059,000. We had Kirby bid out the electrical switchgear, your new service for your elementary school, and all of the replacement panels, electrical panels. They bid that out separately because we needed to get moving on that because of the expected lead times. So that came in just below 300,000. So you got to put these two things together and say, okay, 1 million, roughly $350,000. Also, McKinstry has reached out to us and said they do not want to be the engineer of record for the construction phase. And so we have reached out to PAE, a mechanical engineering that is under Arcadis. So Arcadis is your bond architect and PAE is sort of your bond engineer. So we reached out to them. They will review the documents. They will stamp them, and then they will monitor the construction activity next summer. And I have not yet gotten a fee proposal from them, but if I was going to conservatively say $100,000, I think it'll be something less, but $100,000. Then we're at $1,450,000 versus $2,750,000. So this decision to go a different direction is reducing the cost by $1.3 million. And so we're very happy about that. So, and that's not to say there won't be some additional selective demolition as we get in there and we see things. It's an old building, old systems, but we're starting at a much better. We're starting basically 400,000 below budget and 1.3 million below what it had bid out in June. So yes.
Great.
So with that, we're recommending that we award to Copper Mechanical, and we start getting them into the building, looking all over, asking all sorts of questions, ordering equipment, and getting ready for next summer.
Very good.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely.
So that's a action item
Yep.
for your,
All right, I move that the Drew River School District #1 Board of Directors approve the elementary mechanical system replacement as shown by Scott Rhodes. Do you have a motion?
Have a motion.
Second? Second. All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Do you want me to stay around for the bond update, or you've got that?
I've got it. It's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next action item, if we go back to the top, are your policy second readings. And so on page 60 of your packet, I had highlighted those policies that for the people that were in attendance last month said, we're good with our current policy. We don't want to adopt a new policy. So if that's still the feeling of the board, then when you go to take action, which the language is on page 59, someone would need to remove policy BHD and IF.
So not that one and not IF.
Yeah.
Sure. Ready for the motion?
Mhm.
Move Fairfield School District #1 Board of Directors approve changes to policies BCF, BHD. Nope. That's what BC, I put mark.
I know, I wrote it down below too.
BCF, CEA, DVEA, GCBDE /GDBDE, Jeez. JHCA, JOA, and LBEA.
We have a motion? You have a second? All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Now we're on to action item 8.2. So this is the annual report for your Division 22 standards for K-12 education. So the idea is that Division 22 standards are those laws, rules, regulations that the Oregon Department of Education and the State Board of Education say all schools must follow to provide an appropriate educational experience for all students. And so I'm required to report out to the board by November 1st. And then we have to submit the report and we have to publish it. And so I have a slide deck here for you to take a look at. Move this so you can see it. So again, these are standards that all schools and all districts are supposed to meet for our students. You have to meet them. And if you don't meet them, you have to have a plan for complying so that you can be certified or considered a standard school district. And if you're not in compliance and ODE comes in and works with you, there are different levels of support that ODE can provide to you. So I'm happy to say that in the 6 years I've been here, we've never needed significant support. And it's a lot of people just treat these as a checklist. Yes, yes, yes. You know, you've got the public document here. But what we do is we do a Google Doc. We share it with all of our staff that are responsible for identifying how we're doing. I make each staff member or building put the comments in a box so that they are accountable for this as well. It's not just my name or Sandra's name attesting to this. And then it's actually a good exercise to see, oh, we missed that because there's so much that comes out of ODE. It is easy to miss these things. So there's different categories that they break down all of these Division 22 standards, from learning experiences to your educational systems, making sure they're aligned. They want a component where you're engaging your stakeholders, your parents, your community members. Making sure our schools are safe, both from any kind of outside threat to your buildings being safe and healthy environments for learning, and then making sure that your staff is highly trained, qualified, understands ethics and conflict of interest. So the high quality learning experiences obviously goes to the end game, which is diploma requirements, making sure we have instructional material to support those. With our stakeholders, making sure that is there an avenue for if they have a complaint, do they know how to be heard? Which it's listed on our website. You can hit the I have a complaint and there's a form it takes you to. And then the big one was the Educational Equity Advisory Committees, and that is our access team. And so we've had that going for several years. We're actually ahead of the curve in terms of implementation on that. So we've been able to report we've been doing that for the last several years. And then we have things like required instructional time and counseling supports. And then safe and inclusive schools include the safety drills, earthquake, and also substance abuse education, suicide assistance if you're having mental health issues. Do we have a plan for making sure that we can address that? And then how are we supporting our teachers and administrators through the evaluation tool and observation tools? So there's local accountability, as I said, and then there's state accountability. So this is our local time, and we'll be hitting the state next month. I also have to share minutes with them. I've actually done this, and then share a link as to where we posted this on. So they just don't take our word. Again, if we're out of compliance, they're going to review the document. They're going to provide suggestions. They're going to hold us to a time frame. We have to report back to them. And if we continue to fail to make progress, then they will become more assertive in their assistance to us. I mean, ultimately, the punishment can be that they would withhold your funds, but that would have to be pretty significant. I've not ever seen it. So the report for this school year is that there's some waivers. Again, the governor and ODE waived the demonstration of essential skills by saying you don't have to take and pass the SBAC And you also don't have to have the work samples that demonstrate proficiency. Also that's been done also for our English language learner students. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of 27-28. I don't know if they're going to continue that waiver or reinstate it. We knew that beginning last year, we had to have a K-12 instructional program for social emotional learning. We'd already met that because every curriculum that we adopted had a social emotional learning component in it. So that's already embedded, as well as what our counselors do in homeroom and in advisory time. And then we had figured out how to embed the career path and higher ed standards into advisory groups or the elective periods. So kids are getting exposure to different careers and learning through that. And then personal finance was already embedded in senior survey. So we've met all of those standards. And then there were some revisions around the kinds of diplomas that are awarded and our substance abuse and intervention plans. We are reworking those a little bit. They'll be reposted, but after the first year, we decided there needed to be some adjustments. So I'll have Creighton and the crew highlight that in November, the next time we report on that goal. So recalling for last year at this time, when I reported out, we were not in compliance with the Menstrual Dignity Act, which requires K-12 that you have products available in bathrooms in all restrooms. And we were not in compliance with local performance assessments, meaning somehow teachers got the impression that they didn't have to do the work samples. I don't know how that fell by the wayside, but we had a plan in place for how to correct that. So that's what we were working on. Those were approved. And so I'll report on that. I'm happy to report that for this year, we're fully compliant in all areas. So very exciting. Looking ahead for the 25-26 school year, I want to go back to the menstrual dignity piece I wanted to share, and also the local performance assessment. So last year we spent a lot of time on PD for our teachers, trying to get them to understand, like, put your head around, what does that look like? How do we do that in a third grade classroom, in a fourth grade classroom? And who's going to do it? And how do you work with the teacher so that not everybody in the entire high school the same week is giving a performance assessment in all content areas, sending your students in their panic attack. So, and now we have those embedded in our assessment calendar. So everybody knows in February and April, this is when we're giving those assessments, and it's just built in. Teachers look at that assessment calendar. They know, oh, 2 weeks ago we did the Healthy Teen Survey. Next month we're doing the Youth Truth Survey, and now we have this coming up. The Menstrual Dignity Act, we have the availability of products in every building, and we have directions on how you can access those if you need something in the K-2 building. So we are fully confident that anybody who might need something is able to obtain for free, because our nurse has done a great job in securing free product for our school. So again, for this coming year, the Educational Equity Advisory Committees, like, we are already up and running. The only piece that we kind of need to add to this is a more definite student voice. I mean, even though the videos mostly focus on students and their experience, how do we then take that to the next level of, okay, you're saying this, what can we do differently? So we'll be working on that for this coming year. We have already added the seed surveys that as a required piece. We did that last year. It's embedded in our assessment calendar for this year. And then, and this is like a climate survey done by staff, and ODE collects that to report about how does the industry feel about whatever is happening. And we've already got this in place in terms of the ELPA screener, and there's some clarification about test records and student records, which is fine. Creighton's all of that. So there will be new standards in September 2027. So I'm going to worry about that later.
Wait.
I'm going to do right now. And that's it. Are there any questions as to where we're at with Division 22?
No.
Okay, that is an action item.
Yep. I move that the Jervis School District #1 Board of Directors approve the Division 22 standards for K through 12 education within the OARS as presented by Dandy Stevens. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, discussion items, bond update. So, you heard from Scott, we got great bids in for the mechanical
Yeah.
systems. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
At the elementary school, in one of the rooms here on the corner, we got a safety complaint because part of the floor is kind of collapsing. We know that that room has always been the victim of significant water intrusion anytime anything happened with the roof and the radiator. And so we're going to be going ahead and moving that classroom. I went and talked to Dusty, because now that we have a staff complaint made about safety, we have to address it. So we're gonna do some room reconfigurations and seal that room off, and we're gonna get the contractors in there right away to figure out what's going on in there. So, I don't know if there's structural issues or not, so I'll know more in November. I'll give you that update. Lots of bids happening, deadlines coming out in, November and December. We have like the last round of bid documents for the middle school. So you're gonna see a lot more activity where you're approving those things, moving forward. October 27th or November 2nd, they haven't exactly given me the exact date yet. They begin drilling the 343 piers
Oh, yeah.
into the middle school.
They'll hear it all the way to Woodburn.
It will be a shape. Yeah, it's gonna be loud and disruptive. So, we've asked them to work on the weekends. And also, there's a holiday in there, Veterans Day, so that we can, and also to do the work away from the current middle school building when school's in session.
And how long is that gonna take?
They say 10 to 12 days.
Days?
So, but it will be very uncomfortable.
Ah.
And then this is not a bond update, but this is a facilities update. You should have seen my report where I shared that the septic system went out at the concession stand at the blockhouse.
Yes.
So, it's very old septic system. The lines are very old. And so I've asked Gus to investigate it further to see what our options are. Part of me is of the wonder, okay, do we just replace the septic system with the idea that we're gonna remodel the blockhouse anyway into a team room and an officials room with bathrooms, and then construct a new concession stand with bathrooms, so maybe we put a septic system in the middle, because it's still cheaper to probably have a septic system than tie into the city water and pay their fees.
Yep.
So, I've asked Rebecca to start taking a look at that with Gus, but right now we have 4 porta potties out there. It's also not a great look when you have that brand new turf field and you're trying to rent it out. So, yeah, so
Fancy.
It happens.
they're nice porta potties, but they are,
I've seen.
they're nice.
But still,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
they're-
don't know
yeah.
about it.
So, that was, disappointing.
No,
That happened.
Yeah.
I went to a wedding that they had porta potties that had a mirror, it had a little sink. I mean, it was legit.
Well, that's what we had out at Pioneer for the last 3 months. So
Okay.
we had, because they
Oh,
were also
yes,
air conditioning.
yes.
Because you don't want it to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
like, and so they are quite expensive, but, anyway, we're gonna just stick with the regular porta potties.
I'm saying. It's a football.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
How long are they? Couple hours?
More to come on that for sure.
Yeah.
And that's all I have on the bond update. Do you have any other questions for me?
No.
So then last discussion item is just 2 policy first readings. They're pretty basic. Creighton went through them. I think there's just minor changes from current policy.
Yeah, we'll read them and next time hopefully we'll all be here.
Yeah. Okay. So if there's nothing else, we can go into executive session. I see Anderson is here. Jenny, the language is on page 1. And I'm gonna promote Anderson to. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I did that same thing. I lost my agenda halfway through the meeting. I didn't know what happened to it.
Right here. Yep. The Jervis School District Number 1 Board of Directors, Jervis, Oregon, will hold an executive session, ORS 192.6602H, legal counsel, at the district office conference room on Thursday, October the 16th, 2025, immediately following the regular session. The session is adjourned.